What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. Here with another collaboration here on the YouTube channel. And guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. But today, man, I have one of the more popular YouTubers here in the black space. You know, if you want to talk about the Pan-African kind of space, pro-black. I mean, he kind of debates with those guys. Flat Earth in the building, and that's the brother Sanchez YouTube channel. I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself. And go ahead, brother.
Salutes to you, O'Shea. Thank you for having me. Like O'Shea said, I talk about flat Earth, which is ancient cosmology. I talk about politics, science in particular, Pan-Africanism, you name it, all ancient stuff. And I also deal with a little of these manosphere topics as well, as you can see. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, man, your channel is always interesting. I can honestly say that nobody talks about the things you talk about on your YouTube channel, but you emailed me, I believe it was last week. And at first it was more of a less of a debate challenge. And you wanted to talk to me about how step parents in some cases can be as or more valuable than real parents, because obviously in our space, in the black manosphere, guys who are step parents or stepdads are looked at as simps and things like that. But you actually want to challenge that opinion. Why do you want to challenge that?
I want to challenge it because I know for a fact most black men had a stepfather in their life. You know, when we say most of us grew up with single mother households, that mother wasn't just single. That was a male figure in a lot of those households doing what he's supposed to do, but he don't get no credit. Another reason I want to challenge it is because if we don't, it will actually hurt the concept of village building. When we say it takes a village to raise a child. So, and I also don't think it's realistic that every single black person is going to be with the person that they originally impregnate or that they originally have children with. That's not realistic. And we can get into that later too. But, you know, whenever you want me to touch on these things in detail, let me know, O'Shea. But, you know, the reason I want to challenge this stuff is because step parenting goes beyond this shallow concept that a lot of guys call simping. For example, a step parent, in my definition, is anyone that step in to parent a child other than the biological children. I gave an example, and I used the good brother Q Butter. We all know Q Butter, so right. I'm gonna use him for a good example, right? To me, Q Butter is the ultimate iconic step parent. He's step parenting a bunch of children over there at his institute, and he got to be a father and a teacher. Yeah, exactly. I heard him expressing the frustration of his job. I wouldn't want to do it with these children. You saw what the young boy did with Cam Newton, so you know what he going through. He's step parenting, and he's step parenting a lot of children over there at his institute who may not have a father figure, but Q Butter is that father figure. And I had a lot of guys like Q Butter in my life, and I consider them step parents, and I think and I don't see nothing simping about that, you know.
Let me ask you this, because you made a good point, and shout out to Q Butter. You made a good point that it's unrealistic for people that have, children by somebody originally to still stay with them. Why is that unrealistic in your opinion?
I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to touch on that. We got to be honest. We start having sex at a very young age in the black community, And I think it's mainly due to the music we listen to is over sexualized. However, we do start having sex very young. A lot of girls get knocked up in high school. We know that. This is not really nothing out of the norm, because if you look at what's happening in South America, most of them have a full-fledged family by 20 and 21, with children and all. But not only that, they have a bunch of different families, these guys. So, but the thing is this right here. If you look at your great-grandfather, he had different families all over the place. Back in them days, you found out at the funeral, damn, you got a whole nother family over here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like we very used to the stepdad, and I think the concept of shunning them is modern. When you say why I don't think it's realistic for people to stay with the person they originally impregnate, it's simply because we know how to have sex before we know how to manage relationships. We know how to have sex and make children before we know how to even understand our roles as men and women properly. Mm-hmm. So, our parents come up having you dance sexually and the girls twerk. We learn that quick. So it's not realistic that the girl who got pregnant in high school, when she finally mature, right, that she's gonna be with the dude she was attracted to in high school. She didn't know what she wanted then. So we see that what I'm saying is true when we look at the numbers out here. And we gotta keep in mind that if that's the case, it's gonna inevitably be some step parents if we're gonna build a village. Based on that alone.
No, it's an interesting point. Let me ask you this, because it's hard to, what you're saying is definitely true. And a lot of us as guys, if we didn't have somebody like standing in the gap for us, somebody at church that was a mentor, or having somebody that was directly like a stepdad in our life. But the thing about it is now, Brother Sanchez, with a lot of black men, because you're from Alabama, Bessemer, outside of Birmingham. So back when you were coming up, and even me, because we were around the same age, we were kind of localized to where we were from. But now, just the fact that me and you can have this conversation on the internet and collaborate. This is it's a business now. Guys have access all over the world, and so a guy is asking now, like, well, listen, what's the incentive for me to be a stepfather to someone's child, or even deal with a woman that has a child, when there's so many women out there that don't have children? In America, you have a lot of different women, different races and things like that. What's the benefit of me being a child or a father to somebody? And you know how it is, you might have those kids talking about, you ain't my daddy, I ain't gonna listen to you. What do you say about that?
Now, in those situations, yeah, I agree with it. That's kind of tough. Them kind of children I never dealt with. My first time really being a serious stepfather is my current relationship now. But what is the incentive for a guy becoming a stepfather? Honestly, it's not an incentive-based choice per se. It's kind of one of those things where most single black men, we may not want to settle down with a woman with children, but we don't mind having sex with them. That's just a fact. If she thick, man, if she look good, all right, she can put them kids to bed and we'll play stepdaddy for one night. You know what I'm saying? Most of us cats, yeah, most guys out there, they know what I'm talking about. Like, right. Even if they agree, like, I won't raise another man kids. You done played stepdad at least only for one night. Because guess what? When they get over there, they gonna buy them kids Happy Meals and all that shit to get in them draws. So they gonna play stepdaddy for one night. Now, so the thing is, ain't no incentive for them staying with that woman and being a stepdaddy unless they catch feelings. And that's the part what get cats called simps. So when you out there and you catch a feelings for a woman with children, I'll even agree, according to street legend, that's simping, all right? But let's keep it real and be men though. If you feeling a chick and she got 3 kids, I'll say the incentive is you might have a better relationship with her and them 3 kids than a woman with no kids at all. And I've seen this before. I've seen dudes leave their wife and children and go live out a happy ass life being a stepdaddy to another to another woman who had children and left her husband. You see what I'm saying? And some other, and guess what that guy be hoping? He say to himself, I hope my children get a good stepdaddy. That's what he's saying in his head.
Oh my goodness. Let me ask you this, because a lot of times black men who step in, like for example, the Russell Wilson situation was, real big. That's been always big news. And obviously Russell Wilson became the stepfather to Future and Sierra's son. Now, obviously you're from Birmingham. I'm from Sacramento, and we didn't group in the black community. A lot of guys will say, well, it might not be that the kid is bad, but it's like a bad situation, but she will have a baby by this sort of man. Like you talked about, black folks start having sex younger, and then all of a sudden she's looking for another type of guy to come in and help with the kid, develop the child, but at the same time still being initially attracted to the same kind of guy that she had before. Now, I don't know if you've seen that happen before, but it's like almost like, the guy that becomes a stepdad is not the guy that she probably is not even attracted to, but because he's available, she'll deal with him out of convenience. What do you say about those situations, and have you saw those things happen in the black community?
Yeah, so I have seen that many times before, and that is a good point to bring up. But what I'll say to that is that it's a matter of self-esteem, trust, and all of that good stuff on the man part. And why I say that is this: you'll never know if a woman just choosing you because she's settling. You'll never know that. No man will know that. I don't care how rich you are, how much swag you got. Nope, you ain't Jesus. Like you really can't read her mind and know, do she really like me? Is something to a degree with this thing, everybody gotta have trust, right? That she really feeling me, or no, she ain't really feeling me. She just using me to fill in. You know what I'm saying? I think that really boiled down to that on the male behalf, because you'll never know that 100%. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, because you brought up a good point about community building, and I would agree, because if we were to solve the black community's problem, and I know this because I lived over in Africa for 11 months last year, and when you were talking about those things, that kind of took me back to last year in Uganda. And I do understand the importance of, if you're in the community, the people who are most at risk have to be helped and sustained for that community to become better. Otherwise, it's going to be bad, right? And whether we like it or not, it's kind of hard to disagree. Say, well, okay, if the black community is going to be better, you have these women that don't have any kids, that have children. Somebody needs to pair with that woman that has kids and to help her with those kids that she has. I hear that argument, and I definitely can understand it, where you're coming from. But then here's the situation, Brother Sanchez. Are we then giving an excuse for women who don't have children to become single moms because they do know that there are good brothers out there, like a Brother Sanchez or a Brother Q Butter, who will stand in the gap and still help, even though they're making bad decisions and they know that they're, that decision could be becoming a burden on society or on other people. If black men step in and still, volunteer their services, aren't they just enabling that behavior to continue? Instead of, how the Chinese culture does it and, Japanese culture, where it's kind of, very looked down upon. What do you think about that?
I don't think so, because if we say that's true, then we can flip that around and say our single, think about it, are single mothers enabling fathers to abandon the household? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes sense, but we can reverse that. Are single moms enabling black men to be immature early on, where we to be serious in a relationship? You see what I'm saying? A lot of females willing to be serious and settle down before the man. We know that. So when they getting pregnant, the man saying that man ain't ready to shack up yet. It's too many women out here. So how do they become single moms? Because of that kind of thinking. So that same guy gonna go knock up some more women, and he still don't want no to be a daddy though. But if he got 3 baby mamas, he gonna have 2 of his children with stepfathers, even though he didn't want to be a stepfather. But, I don't think we enabling them, because there's really no incentive for a woman to be a single mother and without a man and hoping to get her the next best choice, right? I think that all women will want that first choice. I don't think they would rather just be single moms waiting on a second best option, like you say. If being a single mom will reduce the options of a quality man, then guess what? I don't think they want to be single moms. Now, there are quality men who don't mind being step parents. You just pointed out Russell Wilson, and there's many more. So I don't really think that's an issue. I don't think we're enabling them, and I don't think they're enabling us. You know what I'm saying?
But let me ask you this though, Brother Sanchez. Do you feel that? Well, let me ask you this, because step parents in general get a bad rap. What are some of the reasons why you feel that black men who are stepfathers get a bad rap? Although in many cases they're actually, one could argue they're actually doing a yeoman's job, because they're providing for a child that wouldn't have provision. They're educating the child that wouldn't have the education. Why do you think that they get a bad rap in the black community in today's time, whereas we was coming up, it was looked at as a more of an honorable thing?
I think a lot of things are becoming backwards today. Why does it get a bad rap? It's just trendy today. We don't control the narrative. We don't even choose our own value systems. That's the sad part. We have an ideology inside of us that's given to us by the consensus. No, not too many people really thinking for themselves out here, and they worrying about what everybody else thinking about their actions. A lot of these guys grew up with stepfathers, and now it's cool to say a nigga is a simp if he's a stepfather, when really they owe their childhood to a stepfather. So when I look at that scenario, I got to just say it's simple why it's happening. It's trendy now. That was a time where it was trendy to say you love your woman and all that. Then it became a trend to say, I don't love them hoes.
Yeah, no, that's true. But let me ask you this though, because in the beginning of the interview, you made a really powerful point that a lot of stepdads don't get any credit. Men in general don't get credit. I know that you're a father, and You're always promoting your family. But I saw when Women's Day came out, and the line was like International Women's Day. The line was like all the way down the street during coronavirus. When Men's Day, men in general get nothing. So, being a stepfather, a lot of those guys didn't get any credit for stepping in, standing in the gap. They ended up paying more bills, using their own money. And a lot of guys, obviously in today's world are looking to explore their options as far as everything, finance, education, instead of, being stuck to somebody's kids. Also, you don't think that that a lot of black men are like, well, listen, I mean, I know I had a stepdad, but just because he helped me, that don't mean that I want to dedicate my life to that. I would rather want to, free up my time. And if I don't have any kids, why am I getting somebody else with kids? Like, I would rather be able to do what's best for my life, because a lot of black men have sacrificed their life for the betterment of women. What do you think about a brother that has that vantage point?
I would say there's nothing wrong at all with having that vantage point, but I would say, as being a step parent, I never feel like I'm stuck to, or it's some kind of burden, or I'm not free no more, or my time is gone. I don't have those problems as a step parent. To guys that do, I don't think it's a matter of being a step parent. I think it's a matter of them demanding what type of relationship they want, regardless if the woman got children or not. Because a woman without children may demand more of your time and be more of a burden than a woman with children. You can get with a woman with no kids and she'll be so touchy and touch, and she just want to suck up all your time. I've had that several times. And you can get with a woman with kids and find, goddamn it, you know what I'm saying, you have more time. So I don't think that that's necessarily true, O'Shea. But if a guy think that way, I don't think that's a dumb way of thinking at all. And I'm gonna say this just on a side note. Any guy telling their child to find them a significant other with no kids is giving them good advice. But any parent telling a child, when a child bring home they significant other, and they significant other happen to have children, if you look down on that and shun that, then you're a horrible parent. So that's how I look at that. So yeah, teaching your kid to find them somebody without kids is very good advice. But however, if that kid bring home somebody with kids, you should still respect them and be happy for them. That's just a sidebar.
Let me ask you this, because obviously you said you're a step parent, and you mentioned something that I wouldn't think about, like your time is not as committed. You could be with a woman that don't have no kids, and then the time should be more of a burden on you than a woman with kids. What are some of the joys of step parenting? Because I'm a guy that don't have kids. Excuse my hiccups. But what are some of the joys of step parenting that you have found, maybe that you didn't think that you would have liked before? But what are some of the benefits, or what are some of the things you get out of it, personal gratification of being a stepfather?
Good question, and I'm gonna turn my camera back on in just a minute. So I think I get all of the benefits that the biological father would have got, and those benefits may not seem beneficial to guys who may not value family. I think I get the same benefits. We mentioned Q Butter earlier. When Q Butter meet a new child and he meet that new girl, that new young boy for the first time, and he see that young boy come in his institute with all these problems, and he work with that young man, and over time that young man changes and become a better young man. Guess what? That is one big benefit that folks don't even know the feeling of that. I know what drives people like Q Butter, and it's not the money, it's the results. It's the change that they making in these children's lives, because a lot of them children gonna grow up, O'Shea, and they gonna say, man, I am who I am today because of brothers like who stepped in when others stepped out. That's what I call a step parent. You know what I'm saying? And that can be for any guy who's a father figure for any person.
Let me ask you this, because you also talked about stepping in as someone stepped out. Isn't that a sign that obviously if the real parent for whatever reason doesn't want to be there, let's say it's the man. Okay, if the woman would, or let's say he's a deadbeat, because you said sometimes the stepfather can be better than the real father. Now let me ask you, how often do you think that happens? Before I kind of go on, how often do you think the stepfather is typically better than the real father?
More than often, because the fact that he's willing to love another man's children like his own because of his love for that woman, and a real daddy couldn't even do that, that already make him better just for stepping up. He already got one up. So that's often, most of the time, that's the case. If considering that the stepfather was the cause of him leaving, and it wasn't the woman's drama and all that,
Well, let me ask you this. Wouldn't it insinuate something? Let's say, for example, if he don't want to be with her, and let's say, because I've even seen cases where women will call guys deadbeat dads or something like that. Wouldn't that say something about her if she has a baby by a man that wouldn't stay with her and wouldn't take care of the baby, and then now another guy who has the stuff together, and she laid down and had a whole child by a guy? Wouldn't that say something about her bad choices and decision making?
I can't argue with that. It'll say something about her bad decision making, and it'll also say something about his, as the parents who didn't make that household work for whatever reason. They 50-50 to blame. But then if I start throwing a stone at her and make that my reason not to be with her if I'm really feeling her, I'm a hypocrite, because I'm guilty of that too. So yeah, her not making it work out with them children, daddy, is a bad mistake she made, and him not making it work is a bad mistake. Now, as the guy who catch feelings for that woman, is he willing to overlook that mistake, that she learned from that mistake, and etc. is how you approach it.
Let me ask you about this. Have you, been a stepfather, and let's say you're the person that you're now the breadwinner, you're doing things. Have you ever been involved in like baby daddy drama with the baby's father before? And I know a lot of guys have experienced that. Have you ever experienced that before? And then never ever never even saw the baby daddy before. Don't even know what he looked like in person. Wow. Okay. So what about, I know you from Rehab, man. Have you ever had a brother that had to deal with those things? And do you think that happens very often?
Oh yeah. Now my case is rare. I will say that. The fact that I don't have to deal with no baby daddy drama, never even saw the baby daddy, and I've been with my woman for going on 10 years now. So my case is very rare. And if it was different, then I don't know if it even would have worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something I really can't really deal with right there. But like I said, I ended up in a rare situation. To the guys who dealing with baby daddy drama, O'Shea, I can't speak on that, man. But I couldn't do it though.
Let's talk about building this community, man. Like you made some strong points. That you need guys like this to be in the community to help these, families and things. And I do agree. Why I don't recommend it, there needs to be some level of mentor. And I saw this plainly when I was in Uganda. And certain people just have to be helped for society to have a chance. I mean, if you want to call it the welfare system, if you want to call it the state, somebody has to, for people who make bad decisions in society, unfortunately, they have to be looked after, especially children. And I know a guy's not gonna like it, but women. But you think with everything that's happening now, with child support, obviously now it's a situation where a woman could put you on child support, and the kid ain't even yours. What's the likelihood that you will see that men would be more willing to be stepfathers with the way that the laws are now and the way that dating and marriage is decreasing in the United States?
The likelihood of step parents is decreasing, just like the likelihood of real parents, man. It's crazy because not only do you have less step parents, you have less people want to be parents, period. I don't think this is even something that's a threat to just the step parent side of the game. I think this is a threat to the family structure, period, by the social engineers to discourage parenting, period. It's beyond step parenting, that whole agenda right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So you think there's an agenda to stop parenting also?
I think it's an agenda to make parents less active in these kids' lives by giving them screens to look at all day and different having the parents, the way our system set up, the TV really raised most of these children. So I do think there's an agenda to get rid of just the whole structure as we know it of a family. And one of those family structures involves the step parent, which is very common in the Black community. The days of you having, like my great grandfather and great grandmother, death did them apart. They had many children. We reminisce about the days where our great grandfathers, great grandmothers stayed together with the grandfathers and had big families. We reminisce about them days because they don't happen no more, and they happening less and less, and it's being broken up more and more. So what I'm saying is, like, there's a huge agenda to sort of attack the village concept.
I see. Well, Brother Sanchez, I won't hold you too long, man. I think you made some pretty interesting cases, and I'm definitely glad you reached out to me, man. I know it's going to be a really good show. Tell people, because you have probably one of the most unique content strategies that I've ever seen in Black YouTube. Tell people, if they come to subscribe to your channel, what kind of information would they be finding out, and what kind of things would you be talking about over there?
Thank you for asking me. And before I get into that, I would like to close out with a few more points on the step parent topic.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And then we'll get into that. So this will be quick. So you will not get nothing closer to Jesus, O'Shea, than a stepdaddy. A stepdaddy is the closest thing to Jesus on earth, to the point where guys even call him a savior. Yeah, they say he's Captain Saver. Now, there's a pastor that you uploaded on your channel who went in on step parents. And I just want to put this on record for the Christian brothers, right? Jesus was a father to the fatherless, and Jesus is your savior. And you revere Jesus because he's a father to the fatherless, but yet you shun another man because he's a father to the fatherless. That's hypocrisy. Any pastor doing that is not really in Christ. Let me say this too. Women get crucified for being single moms without a man there. Then when they get a man to step in there, the man get crucified and called a simp. So it's a lose-lose situation. Now I'm gonna give y'all the information as far as what you can find on my channel, guys. And thank you again, O'Shea, for having me. On my channel, you will find the cutting edge news in science and technology. Everything from SpaceX to ancient cosmology, to what we're researching now is conscious uploading. Our government has the ability to upload the mind into computers and stuff, and that's how they're going to be traveling space. They're going to be using mind uploading for space travel. If you're interested in all this deep nerdy stuff and more ancient knowledge of ancient cosmology, history, and all of this good stuff, check us out.
All right, so I definitely appreciate you for coming on. Guys, make sure you check out Brother Sanchez channel. These hiccups is killing me, but go to the first comment pinned to the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. We out.